Hey, what's up, guys? So I wanted to do a really quick video lesson. I was going over a couple different stocks today, and I was talking to the group, and really, this is the main watch of the day. And I'm super, I'm kind of bummed out. I'm not gonna lie. I tell everybody, just you, the trades are gonna come to you, but man, this thing it just up from 60 cents and it topped out at $2.10 and then goes all the way back down. I mean, that's a big trade to miss out on, and it really sucked. I was looking for it to do a little bit different stuff. I was telling everybody, I was like, I really think that this thing's going to go up to $2. I saw it grinding up in pre-market. I was like, hey, this is exactly what I needed to do. I needed to go to, pop up, have a stuffed candle around $2. That's what I need. Once it came up and it already went over $2 in pre-market, for those of you that don't know, uh, this gray area here, this is called pre-market, right? This, if you're trading on, some BS brokers or whatever, they don't let you trade in pre-market. This is kind of how I look at it. Is this is setting up the levels to trade during the day. If you're a more experienced trader, you can trade pre-market, but fortunately for me and how I'm set up right now, I'm too busy during pre-market, so I couldn't get in on any of this stuff. And I don't like. I would much rather just wait for the levels to be set and then just trade after the open. That's just my personal preference. I will trade pre-market, but for me, I never go in full size, so it doesn't really matter. But on BCTX, this one was kind of a tricky one because I told everybody at the very beginning how I go about trading is I have scenarios in my head, right? If if the stock reacts this way, I'm going to do this. If it does that, then I do this. If it does that, I do this. And that's how I take the approach. And really, honestly, I'm not saying that my way is the best way or the only way. You can do a lot of different things in trading, but for me, I really feel like this is a very good way for people to learn how to trade. And for me, the scenario was, all right, I want to see if this thing stuffs at the $2, which means, on my previous lesson, if you guys watched that, the price goes through $2 and then slams back under. I used the analogy of like you go and dunk one of your friends in a swimming pool. That's what I want to see at $2. The problem with that being so close to the pre-market high is that would be my area of risk. So if this didn't work, I have to be able to react really, really fast. And for beginner traders, that can sometimes be very difficult. So I was not recommending this for absolute beginner traders or you know not being reactionary like me. I wasn't going to let this thing go to my target. If it didn't start reacting right, I would have cut it immediately and may be looking for 210. But I didn't get either of those, and it sucked because once I saw this big buy up candle, I was like, dude, heck yeah! Like we're gonna get squeezed, two maybe even 210, and then ride it all the way down. And well, it went without me, and I was just like, oh, dude, that sucks. And I told everyone, I was like, hey, the only way I'm trading this is if it bounces back up to $2. I'm not chasing this thing. When I was a newer guy, I would have been, seeing all this kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, dude, oh, shit, my bad. I'd be like, oh, dude, there's totally a trade. There's a trend line break, or, another trend line break. Lower volume, stuff candle, and no, dude, like that's not how I trade anymore at all. I was explaining to somebody, and I'm going to get into that example here in a second, but he brought up this stock. Actually, I will go into it right now. CNEY. So this thing is another one. It's up from 25 cents, and it topped out at $1.64, which is an after hours. But he messaged me at 10 $130-ish, I think, somewhere in here, and I can't remember exactly. I told him, I was like, there was some daily levels. It was running into some daily levels at $1.40, I believe, $1.30s, and I was just like, you could take it, but the thing I didn't like about this thing was this. This thing has 2.5 million shares, right, that you can trade. It float rotated 135 times, which means every share in that stock rotated over 135 times. Buyer, seller, buyer, seller, buy. And like for me, I don't like to I don't like to see that, because yeah, okay, cool, man. Like, you could have had, yeah, sure, this could have went back down to 25 cents, or it could have ripped your face off and then you ended, bad day. So I told him, I was like, I don't like how it has float rotated. At that time, it already rotated 63 times already. And I was like, I honestly won't touch it unless it hits 150. I want to see big stuff at that level. Also, I would want to see some much higher volume on that stuff to signal long stuck. Because how I was explaining before is, I want to be short selling into people's greed, where people think that, oh, if this level gets broken, then it's going to go to the moon. That's what I'm looking for. And so for me, right now it's just grinding, in my opinion. Stuff like that, it needs to have good range towards the key levels and stuff. I'm not super interested though. I missed the play, and it's a very cheap stock and could play games. I would take one attempt at 150 because it could fade, but quite a bit. But it's been pumping out a lot of volume compared to the float. Also, with the small float and a cheap stock, it doesn't take a lot of money to manipulate that. And so I told him that at over here, we're chatting in here. Then he messaged me back and he's like, dude, holy crap, this thing literally popped right over 150 and then it starts falling down. I was just like, yeah, well, yeah, I mean that's how it works sometimes. Or I could just miss the trade, and that's one of the biggest things that I tell people all the time is, that's why I don't like to trade stocks full time. I can trade stocks full time. I have traded stocks full time, but it's stupid stressful. And for me, it's like, honestly, it's not even worth it, really, because if you can find a job that you actually enjoy being at and around people that you actually enjoy being around, it's actually not that bad. Especially when you can form your whole life around there. And when I started forming how I wanted to do this business in trading, it really took me back to kickboxing. When I was doing kickboxing, one of the first things that my coach told me was, hey man, if you really want to make a run at this, you have to revolve everything in your life around fighting at that time. And for those of you that don't know, I used to be, a relatively good kickboxer. And so that's what I did. I formed my entire life, like girlfriends, friends, jobs, vacation times, family, everything. Everything was revolved around kickboxing. Well, when I started thinking about, when I was kind of going in a hard patch, when I was trading full time, I was like, man, dude, I need to find a life balance, which I talk about in my courses. But one of the things that I really didn't like about trading was these kind of days where, you're there and it almost set up to trade. And then you're like, oh man, but it was right there. Maybe I should, the mortgages do. I'll never forget, ever, ever, ever. I remember the first time, I had a mortgage due and I was trading full time. And it was probably, I think I had 2 weeks or maybe 10 days or something like that. And I had no money for my mortgage. And I was trading stocks. There was nothing that was moving. I was just like, dude, first off, I didn't plan ahead, which is one thing I talk to my students about is, dude, you have to have a damn game plan, like a legit game plan. Because if you just go into this half-assing or flying around by the seat of your pants, whatever the saying is, it's gonna kick your ass. But if you have a game plan, then you can absolutely do this. And one of the things that I'm always telling everybody is, I don't know, I have a job I basically work salary. I mean, I come in and I do the job, and I don't know, that's it. I can take a little 30-minute break in between deliveries and stuff like that, and or helping people or doing whatever I need to do there, and it's perfect because all my bills are paid with that job. Everything I make on trading is just extra, but it allows me to be like, hey, when you're looking at this kind of stuff, I told the guy, I was like, dude, really? The only way I'll trade this if it gets to this level. I missed it because I was busy, but really, you get in, I said 150. Get in at 150. Awesome. Your first cover is going to be down here at 123. You just made a 27-cent move. Then you get another half, your next target, and another half at your final target, and you miss out on a very small piece that stops you out. Okay, if you really play that through your head a little bit, like I always use the analogy of 1,000 shares. That might be very intimidating for people that are just starting out, but realistically, 1,000 shares, it's really not shit. But if you get in with 1,000 shares at $1.50, you cover 500 shares down here. That's like 125, $30, whatever it is. Then you're going to cover another 250 here, which is a 40-cent move, and then another 125 here, and then you lose out on 125 because I would 100% be holding this for my final target. Okay, so you missed out on 125 shares. So really, you could look at this like you took this with 100 or 875. Okay, whatever. And you covered all of it. I mean, that's a big freaking move, man. 50 cents on 800 shares, that's $400, give or take. And so, I don't know what your guys' daily rate is, but I would imagine most people watching this, it's probably not near $400 a day. So, that's why I try to teach trading, because you don't have to go full time. You don't have to be driving around Lamborghinis or living in mansions. You can just live within your means and make a little side money. Like, this is literally just, it could be like your hobby, your side business, whatever it is. I recommend setting up an LLC and actually doing it as a legit business. That's what I did. That's what all my students are doing. But you don't have to. You can do whatever the hell you want. But I want to put these lessons out there because I feel like they're very good for people to start understanding. The stock has to come to you. You don't go chasing the stock. It comes to you. And 9 out of 10 times, well, not 9 out of 10 times, but let's say 7 out of 10 times, it's going to come to you. And if it does come to you, that's probably going to be at the best price you could possibly get it in at. And at the least risk, which is the most important thing. Anybody, I could talk all day about, all these big numbers and like, oh, dude, you can make $1,000 in a day or whatever. It does. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. What matters is that you guys don't lose money, or you reduce the risk of losing money as much as possible. That's really, like, at the end of the day, in all the years in trading, all of my friends that have gave up trading stocks, there's me and one other guy. That's it. And we started 6 years ago. Yeah, 2018. Yeah, 6 years ago. So yeah, we started 6 years ago, and there's literally 2 of us left. Out of everybody that I know that's been trading, 2 out of, a couple hundred people. All right, well, the reason for that is they run out of capital, and they just can't keep with it. So learn like good hard systems, and then also be very, very disciplined on how you trade stocks. And I don't know, if you guys need a room or somebody to learn from, I have a free community. You don't have to pay me money for anything at all. And honestly, if you're just trying to do this as like a little side hustle and like just making like an extra $400 or $500, you guys can absolutely easily do that off of all the stuff that I teach for free in my Skool community. So if you guys are interested, either message me or follow one of the links on my profile page, and I will see you on the next video.